Oh. You always ask. It smells like so.
Allergy season. The letter she gave her attention. She saw me crazy. She's going to use part of that money that's sent in on email. They're not going to do that. She weighs about 415, 16 pounds. So
I'm pretty sure he got it, right?
6 months.
Yeah, they'll have to come back.
It was very scary. And that led to them figuring out what was going on and correcting it and whatever. Good. I'd like to call the Ways and Means Committee to order. If we could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Samasco,
Present.
Commissioner Baldwin,
Here.
Commissioner Beaton,
Present.
Commissioner Bohm,
Here.
Commissioner Torello,
Here.
Commissioner Vandenbosch,
Here.
Commissioner Rushing.
Here. Can I have a motion to accept the agenda unless we have changes?
So moved.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. We have one citizen wishing to be heard. Vicki Blackburn.
Hi, good evening, Commissioners. Coming here twice a month, I've grown fond of each and every one of you. I see how hard you work, and I believe that you really have what you believe would be the best interest of your constituents at heart, and I respect that. I decided to go ahead and speak tonight because I realized that the camera didn't quite catch how packed this room was 2 weeks ago. Every seat was packed. People were kind of smushed together. Lots of people standing at the back of the room. Lots of people sitting on the floor. And part of that was courage. Courage to speak their truth, courage whether they came as an ally, whether they came as a straight person, whether they came as a family member, whether they came as a friend, or whether they came as a loving human being. They showed up. And what I would want to say is that when we talk about what our constituents want, I assure you that all the people in the room were not from Commissioner Beaton's district. Because that doesn't have a boundary line, a geographical boundary line. Love is love, acceptance is acceptance. And I know bigotry is a harsh word. It's a word that people don't like. And sometimes we have to embrace what we don't like and use it as a learning experience. I'm not being judgmental. I'm just trying to express my my compassion and my sincere prayers for the times that we're in right now that are so filled with hate. And yeah, so the other thing is, I'd like to say that I need a copy, please, of the ARPA expenditures from each district. And I know that I can FOIA that, but I thought that I would do this publicly because, and I want to say too, I'm celebrating the fact that the motion 2 weeks ago passed. And so I'm celebrating that it was a 4-3 vote. And with 3 people disagreeing with the motion, it just reminds me we have a lot of work to do. And let's just keep the conversation going because I like all of you. It's nothing personal, it really isn't. It's just that, okay. And then the other thing I need, please, is the proposed budget and then the final budget when that's ready. And thank you for your time. And please know that I'm speaking from the heart and I really do appreciate each and every one of you. And thank you.
Okay, that's the only one that I have that want to address the board. Do we have any updates? Seeing no updates. Any conceptual initiatives? We have none. We have no old business. Moving on to 7A, the November regular full Board of Commissioners meeting date change. We have one change. Can I have a motion to have the date change?
The reason we are actually proposing that because of the deer hunting thing, so make the motion to change the date to November 9th.
Support?
Any discussion?
I thought we were changing it for the 90s concert, not for deer hunting, so
Well,
just happy it's changing.
That too. The 90s concert, what's that?
McMorrin's got a big 90s tour concert going on in the 60s.
What about the 70s?
I don't remember. Can you tell me about those?
Well, I planned on being deer hunting, so I'm glad that we'll be. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. 7B, Resolution 2324, 2023 Winter Tax Levy L4029. This is for final action.
Make a motion to approve.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. 7C, Resolution 2322, amending Resolution 2264 on the LDFA loan.
Make the motion.
That's go to the full board, correct?
I'd make the motion for final action.
Support.
Any discussion?
What's the reason for final action? I generally don't like to see that. Is there
I think we have to pay some reimbursements here, like sooner than later. That was the reason that they reached out to us. Originally, we did a $700,000 for the property. We thought the 50 would cover it, but the additional fees are more, and they had requested some additional funds to pay.
I get that part. I've actually, administration provided me with the 9 invoices. The $750 was loaned in December of last year. $700,000 spent on the property, which was by the I-69 Strategic International Corridor project. They bought it with the 700,000 and sold it to Magna for $1. That was part of that whole project. The 50,000 extra has been expended, and I know there's balances out there for legal fees, accounting, management fees from one of the other organizations within that interlocal agreement. But again, to have it for final action, I would like to see this on for full board, so people might be able to take a look at this and kind of get their head wrapped around it, rather than just, have final action. I don't think it's that exigent, but that's my position.
The next meeting is this coming Tuesday, the 10th, at the next Michigan Development Court.
Okay.
The I-69 meeting is Tuesday.
So how does that relate to whether it's exigent or not?
That's when we would report back to, that's when the next bills would be paid.
Well,
Their next meeting is on Tuesday.
that's when they normally, like we do, pay the bills at that time.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
I still think that we need to have it on for final action. I don't want to do that, but that's my deal. So,
Yeah, then this item's been in front of us 2 times previous, maybe not with this board. It was however long ago. Dan Casey's here also, if anybody's got questions for Dan.
Are we aware of any invoices that are due prior to 2 weeks from today? Is there any monies that have to be spent?
I would
within the next 2
imagine once
weeks?
you go to the meeting, when did you say, Tuesday, Georgia?
Tuesday morning.
Tuesday morning, there are going to be invoices that are going to be coming this
So, normal invoices, excuse me, Gary, normal invoices, you got a 30-day net minimum. There might even be longer, but we're not going to get any invoices from this coming Tuesday. I still believe you have a 30. And I agree with Steve on this, that if the motion is for final action, then we can take a vote on that. But I'd rather have it for the full board, because there's going to be more discussion, and this money's, we should have the public have an opportunity to be able to speak to the board also.
Georgia? So the meeting Tuesday, when's the next one after that?
It's, I'm looking right now, because usually it's in every other month. I'm looking up the agenda now, they're looking to make sure they have, that's not my agenda.
Have the invoices on those, Carrie? Do we have outstanding invoices submitted, or we're waiting for invoices?
We have not received, their last invoice they sent us was for more than we reimbursed because we hit the $50,000 cap, but we have not received any invoices since then.
Here's the issue I have. I don't know about Tuesday and whether invoices, and I tend to agree with you, you got 30 days. The issue is, we're not going to advance, assuming this passes this board, we're not advancing, the county is not advancing anything until they pass a resolution acknowledging that these are advances and that they'll pay them and all the stuff that we got to have.
But they can do an emergency session. I mean, they didn't get us invoices, so to me, that's on them. They didn't give us notice of their invoice. This came up on the 26th of last month, a week ago. I had to scramble just to get up to speed on it, and now it's final action. It just doesn't bode well. I mean, it doesn't bode well for public participation and knowledge of it, that's all. I mean, the bills are legit. I've looked at 9 invoices, they're lawyer bills. I wish I had lawyer bills like that. I mean, there a lot of work was done, accounting bills, administration fees for the other interlocal agreement partner. I get all that, but just let it have the normal course where we get a bill, we look at it, we can talk about it, and take action on it. It wouldn't hurt to wait 30 days to do that. Perhaps they can schedule a special meeting under their bylaws to pass that because it's necessary and urgent, but just because they failed to get it to me doesn't
Well,
make
we
it.
have Georgia as a representative. She can make those concerns noted at that meeting on Tuesday, and if it's time sensitive, they can address that. And if this gets approved, and then if it's tonight, it's tonight. If it's in 2 weeks at our full board meeting, they can still address that and have the monies available at that time. Dan Casey's here. Are you aware, if I can ask Dan, are you aware of a single invoice that needs to be paid?
Commissioner, I'm not involved in the administrative process, so the answer would be no.
Okay.
I did want to add one other thing, though. The full board is meeting on Tuesday. They meet every other month, but they do have an executive board. And so the executive board just met yesterday. Presumably, they'll meet in another 30 days from now.
And I forgot that structure, so they would have the ability to pass it.
Can the executive board take action, Dan, or does it require a full board?
I believe they can. That's why they were formed. And the idea, I know you mentioned scheduling a special meeting. This is a large board. They have a hard time getting quorum.
They zoom in.
Yeah, so.
They attend by Zoom.
I mean, yes, it sounds theoretically they could, but they have a difficult time getting quorum because there's so many members and they're coming from such long distances in some cases. Like us, for example, we have to drive a long way to get to their meetings, so it creates a problem for some people to make the meetings. That's why they're better if they stick to their regular schedule.
But either way, Georgia will still have that information and can adjust the resolution accordingly if we decide to have it go to the full board, but we do have a motion. And I have still many questions that potentially I call you up, Gary, and get my questions answered prior to the meeting, or potentially Carrie Hepting. And one of the questions I had, which I was going to ask tonight, I'm not still sure with the initial monies, who paid for the land? Just specifically at $750,000 the first time around in December. That went forward. Did that go to the city of St. Clair, to go to the LDFA?
So the city of
Break
St.
that down.
Clair, the
Can you talk
LDFA,
into the mic, Gary?
sorry, the LDFA conveyed the land, or paid the city of St. Clair for the land. So the money had to flow through the LDFA, the I-69 LDFA, so they could pay the county back for the land. And then the 700 went to the city and St. Clair, the city of St. Clair, and then the city of St. Clair conveyed the property to Magna.
The LDFA sold it for $1. We gave the LDFA a loan, they bought it, titled it,
Right.
sold it for $1 for a contribution to this project.
Yep. And the reason for that was that everybody recruiting this Magna plant, which is phenomenal jobs and investment, whatever, every other competitor, the land was for $1. It was free land. So it was very simple. If we didn't come up with a way for this to be free land, there was going to be no Magna project going on down there.
But we do get paid back through the tax capture with interest on us also. So this isn't just 800,000 that's not coming back to us. I want to be very clear about that.
It's in the development plan, and the resolution states that.
Well, I have a couple of things saying that, and we brought that up in our discussions in regards to the initial loan, that this property had been sitting minimum 20 years, possibly up to 30 years, and it was owned by the city of St. Clair, so there was zero tax revenue. And I think that's very important for to be understood, that the reason we went forward with this is that potentially, and the figures that we were given in December, the spreadsheet you made aren't correct, because next year potentially we were going to get $1.5 million. We might not get a single dollar, but at some point we will get reimbursed, and it's tax dollars, tax dollars. It will be coming out of the tax. We'll get it back in our general fund, but it's still coming from the tax revenue. So we'd get that monies regardless, even without it. But the monies were necessary to purchase the land, if that was the right terminology.
Just we wouldn't get that money regardless, because if the loan hadn't been made, there would be no, however big that plan is. I can't.
1.1 million square feet,
Yeah.
1,283 jobs.
It would not be built. There'd be
My
still be
wording was
dirt
bad,
down
right?
there.
600 million in investment so far.
So there's a lot of monies that have been going into this, and it's really benefited St. Clair County. So the initial vote with the spreadsheet that you gave to us, that'll be amended as needed, and I like the wording you put back in the resolution to where, how we are going to be paid back every cent, and this additional money, hopefully, I don't know if you have this, but I don't want to address this again in another 6 months that they need another 100,000. So,
I think the clear message, if this passes from you, has to be no mas. I mean, the county is the far and away the biggest beneficiary of this. The jobs down there are incredible. People making 22, 26, 30 bucks an hour. But at some point, it's got to stop. I mean, it's.
and depending on the bonds, as per our discussions, initially it's a 10-year payout. It potentially might be a 15, but the tax revenues is going to start at $1.5 million that we would not have seen regardless. Our schools are going to benefit, and even if they use the city of St. Clair or the LDFA, however they determine the funds that have to be paid out, the schools will still be made whole. The 18 mills for easy math, the schools will still be made whole from the state. So there's a lot of revenues going down to the schools down in St. Clair to greatly benefit that. If the monies aren't there, of course, our veterans millage and various other things, the park millage won't get paid until the money becomes clear, and the monies are dedicated to the bond to pay that off. But we'll be seeing, you know, millions and millions year after year after year. So I do have a lot of concerns on this. A lot of questions have been answered, and I might have more between now and the next board, but we already have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion on this?
That's on the motion for final action, not on the primary motion.
Right, we have a motion for final action.
That's what we're voting on, correct?
Correct. And I guess one more discussion, Jeff, if you could, to ask you to retract it, because I don't think I can support it for final action tonight for the reasons that have been discussed. No invoices are due. I don't see the urgency of this.
We first need to vote whether or not it's final action, then we can, I got some things I want to talk about the loan itself, but go ahead and call your vote if you
Can't get rid, you seconded, Georgia?
I did second it.
Well, we'd first have to have the second. I don't know if you want to consider that or not, or Jeff, if you want to do it, or vote to withdraw it, so we have it for the full board action. That way the public will be able to have any input into it also.
This is the third time I've seen it, so, I mean, we can do a final action, and if it dies, and we can make a motion to move it on to the full board in 2 weeks, right?
That's how it would work.
So
Yep.
is the motion just
For
to
final-
make it for final action?
For final action.
To do it as final action.
Okay, got it.
Okay, this is for final action to approve the resolution tonight and not going to the full board, correct?
Correct.
All right, I'd like a roll call on it.
Commissioner Samasco,
No for final action.
Commissioner Baldwin,
Yes.
Commissioner Beeden,
Yes.
Commissioner Bohm,
Yes.
Commissioner Trello,
Yes.
Commissioner Vanden Bosch,
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing.
And I'm a no. All right, moving on. We did get one more. Would I be out of order? if
Well, this, you
citizen
still have
came
to,
in?
are you going to take a vote on the approval of the, this is now for final action, correct?
Correct.
But we haven't voted
That
on.
was final action.
Yeah, that was
It
was
just
to make-
adopt the
It was to
resolution
make
as
the
final
item
action.
final action,
Okay,
not on
all
the
right.
item itself.
Okay, I would make, well, so then I just make the same motion? I would make the motion.
No.
He voted to approve the funding for the resolution for final action.
Okay, very good. I'm sorry.
That's the
Go
way I
ahead.
read it. I think we're done with it, correct?
He's done.
Right. I did get one more. Libby Prill came in late. Would I be out of order to let her speak? Citizen addressing the board.
We can do that in the next one.
Next.
It has to do with Ways and Means.
Lydia, is there another one? Not Lydia, sorry, Chris. Is there another
There
one?
is, there's
that
another
came
one
in?
regarding a 501c3, but I don't know what the 501c3 is. So I
Wanna-
can
if
either
you wanna
way-
do 'em-
We
I'll
can
just do them.
Do them
If that's,
both.
I'll do both of them and be done with it.
All right.
Okay, we've got consideration for a couple that were turned in late. Libby Prill, please.
And I apologize for being tardy. I'm going to flip what I was going to say, because I did want to address the issue with the I-60 National Industrial Corridor. Overall, I support it. I think it's a natural, the logistics between Flint and Port Huron and the airport and the bridge. And this was launched in 2012. It involves 3 counties, so it seems like there's a lot of support. I supported the Magna project, and Magna is a part of this corridor. And the problem that I have is we are here again for yet another increase to a grant. We had a grant increase for the brownfield for the EDA building. We had to give a loan extension for Eddy Elementary. We have the St. Clair Inn and receivership. It just seems like somehow we are not doing our due diligence. This stuff should come before the board one time. And if you come and you ask me for $1 million this time, I think, okay, this project says $1 million. I'm going to give you the $1 million for it. But then you're going to come back 6 or 9 months later and say, wait a second, I need another $1 million? That completely changes the dynamics. So we're repeatedly off on these numbers, and I think that really poses a risk to the community because the taxpayers are on the hook for whatever errors that you are making. We're taking the risk with the taxpayer money. In this economy, I think you should be considering whether a TIF loan, especially if it's bond-based, if you're raising revenue through bond, this can be underwritten requiring an insurance policy against underperformance. And maybe you structured it that way, I don't know. But you have to have some safeguards to protect the community for some foolhardy ventures. At some point, something's gonna go bust, and you're gonna have, you know, innocent people that aren't in the position to control what you guys are doing, that are going to be on the hook for this, not just us, but it's probably gonna end up being our children and grandchildren. So I think that you need to slow it down. I don't think that this should be voted on tonight. I think that's a huge mistake, because you clearly don't know what you're doing. You don't have the right numbers. You have to do something to protect the repayment by the taxpayers. I don't think that you should just be cavalierly doing this and then just expect us to be on the hook for it if you make a mistake. So it's not that I don't support the TIF, it's not that I don't support brownfield projects. I think that they have their place. I just think that you have to do a better job at your due diligence, because you're making too many mistakes. Whether it's you or whether it's the submitting party, but you're still responsible for verifying the information. And so we're approving things without all of the information that we really need to make the appropriate decision. Okay, so now I'm gonna go back to the.
I need to, your time's
Okay.
up. Okay, time's up.
Oh, I am up. Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Alyssa Gallup.
I have a comment about the last meeting when the Blue Water Allies were here. I don't know if this is the appropriate meeting to make my comment. Anybody want to address that? It's okay? Okay. I'm here this evening to express my disappointment with the people who sit on this board that supported giving the group Blue Water Allies $10,000 of taxpayer money. And I understand that came through ARPA. I looked up what ARPA was all about. That's federal money, but ultimately it is the citizens who pay that, the tax dollars. It is my belief, and the belief of many that I have spoken to about this issue, that our tax dollars should not be used to support any 501c3 organization. It should be up to an individual what charities and causes they choose to support. If those tax dollars had never been levied in the first place, people could choose who they prefer to give money to, and whether that be a friend or a family member in financial need, supporting feeding the hungry or homeless, our vets, or whatever the case may be. There are plenty of good causes, like when a person has had cancer and gets hit with obscene medical bills. I personally have a friend whose family of 4 who's been living, that are homeless, and they're living in a camper for over 2 years now, since she had had breast cancer, in order to pay off her exorbitant medical bills. This board is responsible for infrastructure like roads and bridges, hiring county employees, parks and development, and those sort of things, is what I looked up today under what the county commissioner board is responsible for. I don't believe there's anywhere in the job description of sitting on this board where it says that you can give away taxpayer money to the charity of your choice. That is called taxation without representation. Ultimately, when it comes to balancing the budget, you need to remember who you work for, and that is the local voter. Thank you.
We're going to move on, and I just want to make a comment. I'm not getting into the conversation, but in regards to Libby Prill, it's not $1 million. It's an additional $50,000 to $100,000 that was approved tonight for this, and the monies that it's being generated from the Magna Corporation starts at $1.5 million annually, and those are revenues that never would have happened if this board didn't take action and get Magna into St. Clair County. I think this board has been very doing their due diligence and protecting the monies. The revenues that's going to be generated from Magna are going to greatly benefit this county. I'm not for giving monies away, and I think we should be very careful when we do. And if anyone wants to look at the resolution, you'll see that there are some safeguards in the resolution that address your concerns. So I just wanted to say that it's not $1 million, it's only an additional 50, potentially 100,000. And this has been something that's really been good for the county. I don't support everything the EDA does, and I probably never will, but on this issue, Magna has been a very good deal for the county and the revenues that are going to be generated. If I covered enough, I don't know if you guys want to say anything else, but we need to move on. Okay, we'll move on. At this time, do we have any other Ways and Means Matters? Seeing none, information only. Can I have a motion to receive and file?
So moved, Baldwin.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Baldwin. Support.
Any
Eden.
discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? We stand adjourned, so I guess we'll go to Lisa now.
I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Human Services Committee, if the clerk would please take the roll.
Commissioner Samasco,
Present.
Commissioner Baldwin,
Here.
Commissioner Bohm,
Here.
Commissioner Torello,
Here.
Commissioner Rushing,
Here.
Commissioner Vanden Bosch.
Here.
Commissioner Beaton.
Present. Are there any additions, deletions, or changes to the agenda?
Make motion to accept the agenda as presented.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Any citizens wishing to be heard tonight in regards to human services? Seeing none. Any updates tonight from commissioners? Seeing none. Any conceptual initiatives tonight? No old business. Moving on to new business 7A, the Department of Human Services Board reappointment. This is reappointing Thomas Seppo for a term ending October 2026.
Make a motion to send that to full board.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item B, the 2024 County Veteran Service Fund Grant Agreement Approval. This is for a grant which we received, a state grant for $146,871.85. There is no local match, and the purpose is for veteran emergency relief, outreach, and incentives.
Make a motion.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Are there any other human services matters this evening? Seeing none, moving on to information only. The Health Department's points of interest for September.
Motion to receive and file.
Support. Baldwin.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 10, I'll accept a motion to receive and file packets.
So moved.
Oh,
Support.
any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to adjourn.
Support. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
I'd like to call the Judiciary Public Safety Committee to order. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Samasco,
Present.
Commissioner Baldwin,
Here.
Commissioner Beaton,
Present.
Commissioner Bohm,
Here.
Commissioner Torello,
Here.
Commissioner Rushing,
Here.
Commissioner Vanden Bosch.
Here. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Support. Baldwin.
Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Moving on to citizens wishing to be heard. First one's Barry. Candidate for Board of Commissioners, Canvassers.
Hi, my name is Barry Mugridge. I reside in Birchville Township, and I am a America First candidate of the St. Clair County Republican Party, vying for a seat with the St. Clair County Board of Canvassers. I am a retired journeyman tradesman of 38 years. My wife of 37 years also is retired, raising a family, and banking. She worked in banking. So. My experience from past public interactions include former recorder for Knights of Columbus Council, 8274 in Lakewood. Former employee of Birchville Township as a recreational park manager. And currently I am the owner of a home-based oil sales business 28 years, been doing that. So, I come before this board to ask for your support to further the process of fair and honest elections in our county, which we all desire. Our election process, as written, is quite simple. Counting ballots, verification, ID, voters, and a process that should not be subject to manipulation or conjecture by any one party. To address any verification today, we have multiple tools such as GPS, sensor data, property records to commit this process for Board of Canvassers, of course. Okay. I take public records very seriously. Accuracy and accountability with attention to detail give public confidence in our processes and elections. It is our moral obligation also to follow the rule of law. Your support I ask for, my word, my talent, and my service I give back to our community. Any questions? Thank you.
Michelle Zanger.
Hello, my name is Michelle Zanger, and I live in Clay Township. And I volunteered to be Board of Canvasser to serve my community and to volunteer and do what I can do for the community. And that's it. Thank you.
And Carol Miller.
Good evening, everybody. I feel like a bully after those last two. I've spoken many times before the previous Board of Commissioners as well as this board. In that time, I've brought forth my group's accomplishments and concerns with the previous overseers of animal control, as well as the issues that continue to come our way with the current overseers. Unfortunately, with the extremely sad incident that the pup in the Sheriff Department had in September, comments have continued to arise regarding the inability of the current animal control to respond to issues. I feel that this board and Ms. Hepting, who is over animal control, are not listening or fail to address and change concerns of the citizens. Why is there not an ability to contact and get a hold of someone at animal control at any hour by any law enforcement in this county? This is a no-brainer. I still have not had a reply from Ms. Hepting on the issue of education I brought forth about the pup hit by a car, killed, and then taken and thrown into the animal control dumpster. I'm saddened that during business hours, the citizens cannot get phone calls to them answered as well. I still am fielding phone calls from people saying they call and nobody answers during business hours. My main concern, though, is the lack of police departments to have the assistance access 24 hours a day. This is something that now needs to be addressed and placed at the forefront of your concern, Ms. Hepting. With the killing of the pup by the sheriff deputy on September 12th of this year, I was appalled that our sheriff would not even have his own facts correct during a month's time when he addressed the Algonac City Council this past week. He notes that he didn't even note the correct type of pups that were in the position that he placed the deputy on. He mentioned that it was, quote, commonplace to lure the dogs with patrol cars with food. Take 2 dogs and 1 item of food. That right there shows me poor judgment, lack of animal education, or both. To lure a dog wagging its tail and then shooting it is beyond comprehension. I feel god-awful for that pup's family, the other pup that saw it, those who had to witness it, such bad behavior and poor decision-making by that officer. Sadly, this included a 13-year-old autistic child who prayed for that pup. Why would he not wait until assistance arrived if he was afraid of this dangerous tail-wagging pup? This has got to stop. Matt King needs to stop making excuses and own up responsibility for the poor decision that his employee made. These officers are sworn, as the sheriff, to protect us and our property. If they can shoot a pup like this, what does it say about human life? The board and the sheriff are elected officials. It's time that those who will not make changes for the better to be removed or resigned. It has been a long time and things continue to stay the same or get worse. It was commented in the meeting years ago when animal control was being taken back by the board and given to Ms. Heffney that she stated she was over in excess of 50 committees. I think it's time to move it to someone who can run and dedicate the needed time.
I need
make
you to finish
changes.
up.
Thank you, I'm almost done. That are needed for this entity and make it what it had once hoped to become. It needs to have policy and process changes and form a partnership with the police departments and be available from, instead of just 9 to 5, but at all hours of the day for the police. Thank you.
All right, moving on to new business, since we have no old business conceptual, any conceptual initiatives? No. Any updates from the commissioners? Nothing. New business, Board of Commissioners appointments.
See, we have 5 potential on the, to send to the full board. I'll make a motion to send these names to the full board.
Support.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution 2320, authorizing the establishment of a capital improvement fund for capital and facility needs for the 72nd District Court.
I make a motion to move it to the full board.
Second.
Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Central Dispatch Authority Board appointments.
Make a motion to send the appointments to the full board.
Support, Eden.
Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Intervention Center uninterruptible power supply system replacement, Power Techniques, Inc., for final action.
Make a motion to approve.
Support.
Any questions?
Reason for final action again for the record?
We would like to get the equipment ordered. It is, it does support very critical functions at our intervention center and dispatch.
The longer it's without is a public safety issue.
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Never mind, it's a roll call
Roll
vote.
call, yeah, I'm sorry.
Commissioner Samasco?
Yes.
Commissioner Baldwin?
Yes.
Commissioner Beeden?
Yes.
Commissioner Bohm?
Yes.
Commissioner Trello?
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing?
Yes.
Commissioner Vandenbach?
Yes. Year-end 2024 Residential Substance Abuse Treatment Grant Award Approval.
Motion to send to full board.
Support.
Any questions on it?
It's a long-term grant.
RSAT.
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And 2023 Edward Ryan Memorial Justice Assistance Grant Agreement Approval.
Motion to send to full board.
Second.
Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Any other judiciary public safety matters? No information only. Can I get
Motion to
them?
receive and file.
Support, Baldwin.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Motion to adjourn.
Support. Aye.
We're going to be in perpetual.
At this time, I'd like to call the Board of Commissioners Environmental Public Works Committee meeting to order. May we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Samasco?
I'm sorry.
Are you here?
Are you here? Are you
I'm
present?
here. I am here. I was looking at something. Thank you for reminding me.
Commissioner Baldwin?
Here.
Commissioner Beeden?
Present.
Commissioner Bohm?
Here.
Commissioner Rushing?
Here.
Commissioner Vandenbosch?
Here.
Commissioner Trello?
Here. Seeing there's no additions, deletions, or changes to the agenda. Could we have a motion to accept the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Support, Baldwin.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I do have one citizen wishing to be heard tonight, Howard Heidemann. Topic is resiliency.
Former Commissioner Howard Heidemann.
Sorry.
Good evening, Commissioners. It's kind of awkward to be on this side of the dais, but still nice to be here. Anyway, I want to talk to you tonight about resiliency, in particular in communities. If you're not familiar with resiliency in a community, I would invite you to watch a video of a town in Florida called Babcock Ranch, Florida. It's about 10 miles north and a little east of Fort Myers. We know about the hurricane a year ago, going through the community, 155-mile-an-hour wind, destroying entire communities from Fort Myers. We all heard the people from Fort Myers asking the president, asking the governor to come in and help because things were devastated. But one community, Babcock Ranch, Florida, did not call. Why? About several years before this hurricane, they embarked upon resiliency. They did not lose a house. They did not lose power. They did not lose water. They even had internet, all during the hurricane. Not only that, they weren't calling the president or the governor to come in and bail them out. That's how important resiliency is. Now, we know in St. Clair County, we have some problems. We have ice storms. I remember being out of power for 2 days, and I live in the city of Port Huron. We all know about the flooding in the downriver community. So there's a lot of opportunity to look at resiliency in our various communities. And if we have any money left from the recovery fund, I think we should consider using it for that. I know Metropolitan Planning have some very talented people. They will help you develop ideas. I know Emergency Management could too. Anyway, thank you for letting me have the opportunity to address you. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Is there any updates from the commissioners?
Yeah, I just have a quick one. Had a meeting out at the landfill. You're probably familiar with the, they've been receiving phone calls on the odors, that type of stuff. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Carrie, that they were ordering another flare. There's additional gas capacity that's coming out of that landfill right now, and usually what happens with excess gas, you flare that excess gas. Well, there's more excess gas right now than the one flare can handle, so they're looking at a second stack. And why I emphasize the additional gas, we've had some meetings recently with some companies looking at additional opportunity at our landfill as far as the additional gas goes. So I think we're at the time now that our gas curve and our sustainability on additional gas, we need to really be talking to some of these companies about what can we do with that additional gas. There's lots of different forms. There's biodiesel, there's this, that.
How many
300
How
CFM.
many cat motors are they running at the production facility?
Two, which take about 500 CFM. Right now, I think we're around 300 additional, but there's going to probably be more as the landfill gets bigger, more bioreactor.
How does our landfill compare with the one in Lenox Township? Size-wise?
we are like probably 1/10 the size. That's used to be the 5th largest landfill in the country.
I've
They
got a
have,
son-in-law that is a diesel mechanic. He just got hired by.
I think,
by,
13 generators in that one kind of deal.
There's 8. There's 8 of them at that facility.
Is that what it is?
And they
Yeah.
take one down and rebuild it and run the other ones. And we had 2. I noted that it's.
Yeah, and there's other things out there right now that we're looking at. So we recently have had some meetings with some companies that have been out to the landfill.
Didn't we just give Matt $100,000 to fix that?
I'm not saying he's not fixing it, but that's, I think, going to be the next part of the conversation.
Has he done anything with that? Do you know, Jeff? Has he made any progress? He was looking for.
So yes, we did sign an agreement to have the additional flare brought in, and we are looking at another vendor to put in an additional
Like a
trenching
mobile
and
flare?
collection area.
A flare on wheels or what is
Yeah,
that?
it is a portable one. So that agreement was signed. We are going to actually put the contract on the agenda for full board, but we did sign that PO because it's about 2 weeks to
The
get it.
idea was they could hold on to it, and if we need it again, you could pull it out and use it. That was kind of.
Well, we're just renting it for
Oh,
6
renting
months
it.
at this
I see.
point, yes.
Yeah, and that leads me into the comment about what do we do with the additional gas? We need to be
Right.
talking
Why-
to these other.
why
what-
waste it?
What's the latest and greatest, next on the horizon, so on and so forth. So like I said, we're going to be facilitating some meetings just.
Isn't it as simple as just expanding the production, the generation
Well, it
side of it?
depends, You've got the generation piece of it, which,
Detroit
you know,
Edison.
DTE has that. I don't think personally they're interested in putting another,
Really?
generator in. Now, the cost of what, that was the purchase agreement on those particular two were like $99 a megawatt back in the day. I think you can get probably somewhere in the 30s in renewables and stuff. So that's, whether you like renewables or hate them, that's just the cost, right? So the cost to actually break even, if Matt was in here, we talked about that number the other day. I think it's like 60 in landfill gas. So
Maybe.
it doesn't pencil. So there's other alternatives out there that I know Morgan's been meeting. I took a meeting the other day. The guys actually flew in from New
Are you
York.
talking about options to shop that and get another entity out there? Are we locked
Yeah,
in?
basically, what can we do with the additional
So
gas
we're not locked
production?
into just DT. They have their piece of it. We have commitments with them, but we could perhaps get another operator.
Not 100% sure. That'll be a Gary question in the contract, I think they have the first right of refusal, if I'm not
I
mistaken.
can add another one, but the contract we got, the rate they pay us was locked in at a very high rate, so I don't think they're
No,
going
no,
to.
I'm saying get rid of them. I'm saying add another one like.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We could do that. Yeah, but, keep them. They're paying, they are paying.
They have
us.
the option, first option, if we have the gas to support another one. I'm just saying at the rate they're paying, they're probably not going to do it. But the other thing we could do is if they see it as viable at a lower rate, we could negotiate a market rate for the third generator.
It's not as easy as putting a sign out that says gas for sale.
Free gas, no. So just wanted to get an update on that. So obviously the odor issue is addressing that, but then what the next business opportunity, I guess, looks like out there, what can you do with additional gas, so.
Thank you. I did call Matt as well, and he said that we had gotten the flare, and so he's moving forward to try to mitigate all those problems. So thanks for covering that. Worked out well. Moving on to conceptual initiatives.
None.
Okay, thank you. And seeing no old business, we'll move on to new business. Item 7A, the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority Board of Director reappointments.
Make a motion, send those to the full board.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 7B, the resolution 2023, the chill grant application approval.
Make a motion, send that to full board.
Support. Baldwin.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 7C, the MSHDA Citizen Participation Plan adoption, which I believe is the state program that goes along with the chill grant application approval.
Make a motion, send the full board.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 8A,
Make a motion to receive and file the Smith Creek landfill activities reports.
Support.
any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Any other environmental public work matters this evening? May I have a motion to receive and file the packets?
So moved. Baldwin?
Support.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Information only, the monthly Park and Rec's financial documents.
Make a motion, receive and file.
Support?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Receive and file packets. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Support?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Adjournment?
Motion to adjourn.
Support?
All in favor?
Aye.